welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got this. Yeah. Isn't it my day? I know this. I think the thing is messed up, so I apologize.
Good. You can hop on it. Okay.
Yes, but good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, April 6th. Today is National Alcohol Screening Day, New Beers Day. Maybe that's because of Bud Light, what's going on over there. National Employee Benefits Day, National Student Athlete Day, because all of your students, you should always maintain athleticism. National Caramel Popcorn Day, because you know caramel popcorn is way better than regular popcorn. And it's also National Burrito Day and National Teflon Day. I wonder if that's because of Trump going to jail, but who knows. It's also National Carbonara Day, so we know what Gretchen's going to cook for dinner, and National Tartan Day for all of you Burberry fans. And, of course, it's National Sorry Charlie Day. Thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. We're live every Monday through Friday on YouTube and audio only on Clubhouse. You can use that fancy QR code right there in the top-hand corner of your screen to see where we live on the internet. So then that way you can follow us on all of our different sites and platforms. If you are joining us in Clubhouse, you can also participate in the show by raising your hand if you have a comment on the story most recently presented. But coming up first, we have the dope dad himself. That's right, Rico Lamitte, who has now officially moved, got into his new spot, setting everything up, and has been moving a lot of boxes. That's right, is the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte.
Much appreciated, Jason, and thank you, everybody, for your patience with me as I get my internet shit together. But we're going to talk a little bit about jokes and delivery today, and Chuck Schumer, because sometimes it's the joke, other times the delivery. Sometimes you get a tough crowd, but when all else fails, will a change of venue do the trick? We've all been there before. Sometimes you tell a bad joke in a great room of listeners, and for some reason it lands and you get a great laugh from everybody. Other times you feel you told a great joke and nobody laughs at all. Most of the time, key to comedic success is one's ability to read the room and give the audience what they came for, a good laugh. But Chuck Schumer's no comedian. I mean, he's got the look, that's about it. He and Cory Booker's tongue-in-cheek bit last year to have the ever-elusive COAOA bill on the Senate floor drop on 420 fell flat. It wasn't funny. The 420 came and went with no bill. Since the Senate last year kept power in the hands of Democrats, Chuck's going to have another shot this year to connect with the cannabis community on 420. But has he learned from his mistakes? Kyle Yeager from MJ Moment reported reform advocates announced Wednesday they'll be holding a policy forum inside the U.S. Capitol building on 420 with Chuck Schumer as highlighted speaker for the National Cannabis Policy Summit's Congressional Forum hosted in the Capitol Visitors Center's Congressional Auditorium for a discussion on the need for federal reform with a focus on promoting equity. In attendance will be advocates, experts, lawmakers, stakeholders, and patients, while pro-legalization festivals and forums have been held outside of the Capitol in Washington in recent years. This policy-centric event is going to be the first actually inside the Capitol building. Other expected speakers are the usual suspects lineup of pro-cannabis politicians: John Hickenlooper, Earl Blumenauer, Barbara Lee, Dave Joyce, Nancy Mason, Brian Mast. And this event is going to be 2 days ahead of the 7th annual National Cannabis Festival at RFK Stadium, former home to the Washington, what they call themselves now, the Commanders. And I'm sure that our very own Washington insider Gretchen Gailey will be there. But my question is, what new material, if any, will Chuck Schumer even be presenting here? And will it even matter? Is Rico Lamitte, Nova's dad on the street? I'd hear from everybody else on this one, especially Gretchen Gailey. What you got? Are you going to be there? Obviously. What's going to happen?
Yes, I may attend this event. Once again, Kyle Yeager's gotten his facts wrong. It is not the first cannabis event to be held in the Capitol. I had that pleasure in 2019 and had to fight Nancy Pelosi to get it done. And that's the only thing that I will ever love Nancy Pelosi for, is that when the Capitol architect was trying to shut us down 2 days beforehand, we were doing a premiere of Ricky Lake's documentary, Weed the People. Right. And we had a number of lawmakers who also participated in it. First, they tried to shut us out of our speaking venue. And then they shoved us into a basement room underneath, the bowels of the Capitol. And we still made it happen. Nancy was the one who gave us the permission to show the movie and still get it done when everyone else was trying to shut us down.
Gretchen, did she give you the little baby clap?
Gretchen, I was there.
Yes. You were not there.
I swear to God I was, and I delivered a speech.
No, you weren't.
I swear to God.
Jason Beck, swear to God, I know what my program was, and you were not
there.
Hold
on, wait. So, hold on, because there was an event, and I'm pretty sure you were there, and it was put together by Safira Galoob, right?
And yes, Safira put on an event. That was not my event.
Oh, okay.
And that event was not in the Capitol. Safira's was off to the side in the visitor center. I was in the building.
Okay.
Under
Jason,
the dome.
You were
I mean, it was inside the Capitol. It was in a basement, and there was a bunch of congressional statues all over the place.
Sounds like you were.
I know where you're referring to, and you were in the visitor center. Bless your heart that you think that's the Capitol. However,
Lil JJ.
I had a wonderful lunch yesterday with Reggie Babin, that's where I was, who was Schumer's right-hand man and wrote the CAOA. And I asked him, what is Schumer going to do for us lately? And they're like, meh. So I don't know what Chuck is going to be bringing to this event. I think perhaps he is going to try and resurrect parts of the CAOA. They are holding steadfast that the only way to do this is a comprehensive, full-blown. That's the only way they're going to get this done. I think if they keep going down that path, they are going to be severely disappointed like they have been in the past. But Schumer has continued to say that this is going to be one of his top priorities. If it is, the proof is in the pudding. Put shit on the floor and get some votes. That's what I want to see Schumer do. I want to see a plan for bringing bills to the floor for votes. That's what I want to hear from Schumer.
You know what I think Schumer is going to be bringing to this event?
What's he going to bring?
A whole lot of lip service.
Well, that's what he's most well known for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Is there going to be any movement on Texas, Liz Grow?
You know, that's a great question, Rico, and a question that I appreciate. There will be movement, but it won't be enough, I think, to really make a big enough impact for the patients of Texas who desperately need access to this medicine, not only in gummy form and in tincture form, but in flower form. Right now, we are fighting the ban on smokable hemp flower in our Texas Capitol. So that's where Texas is right now with cannabis. But thanks for checking in. Let me smoke some hemp at least, you know? Let me smoke some hemp.
Oh, so gross. Harsh. Sounds harsh.
We're fighting, man. We're fighting.
Makes my lungs hurt just thinking about
terrible. It. Well, I just think it's
my
going to be
capillaries are quivering.
Capillaries are quivering.
Yeah.
You gotta write that one down, dude. I like that one.
Yeah.
All right, so Yeah, I don't think nothing's going to happen of this. And this is just a bunch of, just as you said, Jason, it's going to be more lip service. I thought it was disrespectful the way that they're trying to do this cute shit on 420. You're playing with people's lives. This is medicine. At the end of the day, this medicine is not a joke. And the pseudo holiday of 420, yeah, it means something to the cannabis community, but it's never meant anything to you as politicians. Why are you using that to put policy forward as if that's our Christmas, that's our New Year? It's not. People want medicine. People have been waiting for decades, for generations for that shit, and they need to get serious about it. They really want to put something forward, come to the table with the Republicans and put together some real solutions to the real problems in America right now.
Rico, while I hear what you're saying, the timing of this also has to do with people. A number of advocates will be on the Hill that week for fly-ins. You have the National Cannabis Festival happening this weekend, or on the 22nd, 23rd, whatever that is, that weekend. They're doing this at this time because they want a room full of people to hear Chuck talk about cannabis. Right. And frankly, you can't get 5 people together in DC to talk about cannabis ever, unless there's a cannabis festival or something going on.
What is the draw? What is the draw for Chuck Schumer? Why are people still wanting to listen to him on cannabis, like at all? He hasn't done.
Because he's a leader and he's in charge of things coming to the floor. He's got all the power in the Senate. As much as we hate him, he's got the power. He's the man who can make our hopes and dreams happen.
That's right.
And especially in an election year, that's when he cares.
It sounds like there's going to be a bleak future for all those with hopes and dreams.
Hopes and dreams are
banking already.
Few to come by. Well,
people have hopes and dreams. You bring back Barack Obama.
There is hope for SAFE this year. That is what they were telling me that they thought would get done, is a SAFE Plus. And I'm like, if that's what Schumer's going to lead into, great. Lean into something, Chuck. Something that can pass.
I heard Sheryl Sandberg needs a job these days. She knows all about leaning in. Oh, my women over that joke. Hey, like that cross-gender jokes over there. Lean forward.
That was so random, Rico.
Coming up next, y'all know who it is.
We got to go to a commercial. We'll be right back.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
How's it going, guys? Saman Razani coming to you from Green Street here with Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast available on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify? Tune in now and check it out.
Up next, it is the cannabis industry's longest continuously operating retailer, known as White Gucci in Detroit, known as Gucci Blanco down at Mar-a-Lago. And you know what? He is going hard for his man in the paint, Donald J. Trump. Indicated person number 1, individual 1. What do you got for us today, Jason Beck? You got some heavy news coming from a perspective, or what?
I do have some heavy news that affects a number of people in the cannabis space today, because everyone likes to get paid and everyone loves payroll, because there's been an exit of Paychex and a headache for hundreds of operators. Human resources titan Paychex, NASDAQ PAYX, essentially announced its exit from the legal cannabis industry via email sent last week to its marijuana company clients that used it for payroll and other services, leaving potentially hundreds of operators in the lurch. According to an email, a copy of which was obtained by Green Market Report, Paychex told cannabis clients that it would be drastically scaling back its services to the point that is tantamount to an exit. To industry insiders said. Paychex wrote, "Unfortunately, we can no longer provide you with some of the services you are currently receiving from Paychex." The pullback could affect an upwards of 300 cannabis businesses across the country, said Chris Lagana, a New York-based marijuana industry consultant and former executive, executive at Cannabis Payroll firm Work. He said Paychex's footprint dates back roughly 4 years. Lagana said Paychex had already begun scaling back its footprint in January when it notified clients that it would be purchasing out its tax pay service for marijuana businesses, and the most recent announcement basically completed Paychex withdrawal from the cannabis sector altogether. The Paychex notification said that as of May 1st, it would cease offering not only tax pay services, but also direct deposit payroll services and record keeping for employees' time and attendance as part of a transition. The company will provide check signing services, for instance, but it did not have much of an exit plan laid out for its cannabis clients, Laguna said. San Francisco-based tax attorney Regina Ugovalewski said Paychex was one of the top service providers in payroll and HR for cannabis companies, primarily because most national firms such as ADP still won't touch marijuana clients. That means Paychex's withdrawal is definitely pain in the ass level for cannabis operators, she said. It's not the end all be all, but it is like switching your insurance. It's just a lot of paperwork involved on the back end. Urgorowski said it's just a difficult scenario to be put in. Unaguvosky warned that cannabis companies should be careful to whom they switch from Paychex because errors in payroll can trigger federal audits, and nobody in cannabis should want to face down the Internal Revenue Service over a payroll tax error. Laguna said she's also convinced that Paychex's marijuana exit is connected to the failure of last month's of Silicon Valley Bank, which he described as a cannabis-friendly bank when it came to ancillary businesses such as payroll providers like Paychex. And Paychex did not have banking relationships with SVB, and says, I do not think that's any secret, and I know they moved most of their cannabis companies through SVB, he said. The most likely explanation for Paychex pivot, Laguna said, is company leadership simply decided cannabis was one more risk it didn't need after the SVB went under. Laguna also noted that for a company the size of Paychex, with a $40 billion market cap and $1.3 billion in revenue last quarter alone, the likely millions it gets from the marijuana sector represent a small drop in the bucket. It's also a reminder that the marijuana business stigma still exists thanks to federal prohibition, Laguna said, and in a quote, it just goes to show you that cannabis companies are still very underserved, Laguna said. Laguna said cannabis operators in need of a replacement for Paychex should check out this former company work or Kaya Push and Paragon Payroll if you are in need of services. Well, I'll tell you what, I got one of these emails and I saw it and I was like, what the hell are these people talking about? But we'll see what happens. And this is Jason Beck reporting for High at 9 News. What do you guys think about this Paychex pulling out? Is their pullout game strong or is it weak?
This is shitty.
This is so weak.
This is
so shitty.
Like,
it's like, what do you say? It's just like, womp womp. It's a big fart of federal fucking Schedule 1 status. We're all smelling it. We're all living in it. And it sucks. Okay? It sucks.
Fuck them. I say it's an opportunity for a new company to come along and take all of their business. Where they at?
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity. I agree with you, Governor, on that one. On the opportunity standpoint, but in the meantime, this really sucks for all the operators, like trying to get people paid right now.
And yeah, you guys, it's not that easy to stand up a company, a payment processing company. You know, there's a reason that there are, a few big players out there, and the fact that Paychex is out is going to hurt a lot of people, a lot of businesses. It's like, it's just insanity. It doesn't make any sense. But unfortunately, we're all still operating illegally if you are buying and selling marijuana in this country.
Just why you got to decentralize everyththing, man. When you have one central focal point. First service is essential services and needs for businesses like this. If one goes down, everybody's going to be hurting.
Yep, pain in the ass. Oh, Catalyst got booted from Paychex too. Oh man, that is whack.
That sucks.
But you're right. There's going to be a company that comes along who is going to completely change the game, and I just can't wait to see who that will be.
The problem with all these other cannabis paycheck providers is that they charge more than what Paychex was charging. And so there's just going to be more fees and costs cannabis businesses more money, which in turn gets passed on to the consumer. And if weed wasn't already expensive enough, it sounds like it's going to get just a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, it's going to be another tax levied on the cannabis industry. So no, this is really sucks, and I feel sorry for everybody that's having to deal with this currently. I could see work being probably the top contender. They've been around for a long time, and they've been servicing a lot of cannabis companies. We actually used to work with them back when I was at Baker back in 2016. So I don't see why they would not just take this over, because they were billing themselves as a way better alternative to them. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shall see. Time will tell. Time will tell.
yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything on that one? Gretchen, she dipped out. You know what I'm saying?
No, she's there.
I'm here. No, I got nothing. I've been busy writing Tom Angle and Kyle Yeager about how their story is full of
Gretchen.
mistakes.
Fake news.
Can you make that? Can you make that an op-ed, please?
Easy.
I want to hear what really grinds Gretchen's gears.
Oh man. Well, yeah. Look, coming up next. That's right. It's the spicy redheaded conservative that loves to talk trash and rain on everyone's parade. That's right. The founder of Panoptic Strategies and the dog dressing designer. That's right. Gretchen Gailey.
Thank you. First, I would say I do not talk trash. I talk facts. Something that people like to ignore. My headline is coming from MJ Biz Daily. Georgia bill rejected that would have expanded medical cannabis program. Georgia lawmakers voted down a medical cannabis bill that would have created more marijuana business opportunities in the state and regulated Delta 8 products. If House Bill 196 had passed on Tuesday night, it would have given the Georgia Department of Agriculture the power to approve as many as 20 companies for a chance to grow and sell medical marijuana. So far, the state has licensed only 2 companies to grow, manufacture, and sell low THC marijuana oil for medical purposes for a marijuana program that could launch this year. I apologize for my handyman. HB 196, which became contentious legislation, failed just before the end of the lawmaker's session, according to political news outlet Capitol Beat. The final straw that irked senators as well as some House members was the 39-page medical cannabis bill had an additional 15 pages tacked on to the end concerning hemp products, which had not gone through the normal vetting in committee. That final version of the legislation also included language related to Delta 8 products. An earlier version of 196 would have made the state's marijuana regulator the Georgia Access to Medical Cannabis Commission, subject to the State Open Records Act. The legislation also sought to address the rash of lawsuits filed by 9 companies for lost bids for licenses that are holding up the licensing process through mediation that could have led to licenses for those companies. The bill was changed at the last minute to abolish the GMCC and transfer its responsibilities to the Georgia Agricultural Department alongside the hemp regulation changes. I find this extremely frustrating, as I'm sure many Georgians do, and many doctors like our Dr. Mary Clifton. Georgia just needs to pull their act together and get their medical program moving. This is ridiculous that they can't make this happen. This is Gretchen for High at 9 News, along with my dryer repairman.
Mom, I told you not to bother me while I'm cleaning my room.
That is what it sounded like. Your mom is out there with a Hoover.
It
Sorry,
did sound like a vacuum.
They're cleaning out the pipes, which is very important.
Yeah, they're cleaning out the
dryer
pipes.
Oh,
maintenance.
Gretchen get their pipes cleaned out.
I know, you gotta get the pipes cleaned now and then.
Fire.
All right? It can cause a fire. This is very
Yes.
important. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lynbro, for the support.
Yeah. So many innuendos.
We don't want you to burn up. You're fiery enough, Gretchen. Okay, you don't
Thank
need
you.
a
Thank
dry
you.
fire.
There's all kinds of bait laid up in that speech.
Gretchen, what's your pipe cleaner look like?
Don't you worry about that. Dr. Mary, what do you think of this bill?
Is it fiery?
Yeah,
The fact that they can't
let's
get
correct the course of this
medical
conversation.
music.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia, I don't understand. I mean, but I think that there has been a lot of trial and error from state to state. And we can all look to Missouri as having done such a fantastic job. We have a good roadmap for states who want to adopt a medical marijuana program that's robust and successful. So that's exciting. That's wonderful that that's there, because a lot of states flounder. There seems to be a number of moving parts that aligning production with patients actually getting their cards. It seems to be difficult in many states, and Georgia just seems to have so many roadblocks. I think it's gonna be tough there.
Well, and Dr. Mary, it seemed like the downfall of this bill in particular was the inclusion of Delta 8 products. Do you think that was a mistake on their part?
Well, I mean, if a Delta 8 product is properly produced and properly tested, I'm okay with Delta 8 being available. Different people respond differently to different products, so I hope that that wasn't part of it. But then you're bringing in even more people that are going to voice concern about that bill, because then you have all these people who have paid for marijuana licenses that have competition that's very difficult to compete against. Delta 8 is just under is under so much less regulation. So I can see why that would cause problems for the people who are trying to get these things to go forward.
Is Dr. Felicia in the building?
I was
the
you
resident.
reading my mind, bro.
Virgin.
You're reading my mind, and I do not see Dr. Felicia in here, but she's in great state of Georgia. So
somebody call her. Somebody from Clubhouse, ping Dr. Felicia.
Well, she might have. She pops in.
Yeah, she's right down there in Georgia, but that program is really stumbling along, isn't it?
I mean, it sounds like Texas's program is reminding me of.
You kidding me, man? That's so much farther than Texas's program. I'm jealous of what the shit they've got going on in Georgia. Hello, at least they're trying. But we've got 29 million people here in this state, and as we were talking about in the chat, it's still spelled, it's still marijuana with an H. Mm-hmm. And that's the word that is used on our floor of our Capitol. And it's like, wow.
Marijuana.
Wow.
Gotta accentuate the H.
Sad.
It's racist, and it's spelled that way so that white lawmakers are scared of it. It's so scary.
And part of me is wondering if the Delta 8 was just just a herring. They really just don't want it to pass, so we're going to say Delta 8's the issue. Because it's not like Georgia has been trying to get a medical program up and running.
Right. Well, in all fairness, Delta 8 is an issue.
Well, and their complaint was that these products aren't vetted.
Yeah, but I don't know how any of the legislatures even know this issue to that level of detail. That may have been, Gretchen's probably right on that was a red herring, and that they're just trying to avoid having anything pass.
Yeah, I think it's the latter. It's definitely, they're kicking the can and they're waiting for somebody else to move first, just like all of the rest of these red states. Wait till this state goes and we're going to go after them, and then nobody really goes first. And if they do,
Texas never goes, and that's the big punchline. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
No, you're good. Nobody wins on this shit. So
very, very true.
Ready to take us to halftime, Jason?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go to commercial. We're going to be right back.
Keeping up to date on the evolving policies of relevant state, local, and federal governments is key to success. When the future of your business is at stake, you need representation as dedicated as you are. With a maze of laws and regulations surrounding cannabis, hemp, and psychedelics, knowing where to begin can be a challenge. Good thing the law offices of Omar Figueroa features a skilled, highly focused team ready to guide you through it all. They're accepting new clients in California and New York. So make sure you check them out at info@omarfigueroa.com.
The thoughts, opinions, and shade thrown at Hideout News are those of individual speakers, not those of any other speaker or its followers. The statements made do not constitute legal or accounting advice, and our speakers make no representations regarding the legal status or of any substance in any country, area, territory, or its authorities. The views expressed in this room do not establish any fiduciary responsibility or relationship. Our sponsors do not imply or constitute any endorsement by us or the expression of any opinion whatsoever on the part of any speaker on stage. So if you are an easily offended person, hit up Thumbtack. Gretchen has a couple jobs for you.
Pipe cleaning services.
Thorough.
Vacuuming outside the bedroom. You got it.
Exactly.
The control tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The control tower from Highly Educated.
Up next, she is an advocate, storyteller, co-founder of Grow House Media, and the host of Feminized Podcast, where she interviews some of the dopest women in the game. And you know what? She is also an expert of all things windowsill cultivation. When it comes to Delta 8, Delta 10, THCO, THCA, like all of that stuff, this is the person you need to be talking to. Coming to the stage next, you know who it is, Liz Grow.
Oh my God, Rico, your introductions just make my life. I'm really excited, you guys, to bring you a story from Thailand today. It's not a great story, but it's a story nonetheless about another country who's legalizing cannabis, but that things aren't quite going as planned. And this story actually comes from Reuters, and it's Thailand's promised cannabis bonanza disappoints as politicians trade blame. So Thailand's ambitious plans to capitalize on the cannabis market have fallen short, leading to disappointment in politicians pointing the finger at one another, as they do in all countries all across the world. After the country legalized marijuana in 2018 for medical purposes and further relaxed regulations in 2021, many anticipated a thriving cannabis industry. However, the government's tight control over cultivation and distribution, coupled with bureaucracy, has stifled growth. We cannot rush. We need to be careful. We're talking about drugs, said Dr. Sufan Mikton, chairman of the Government of Pharmaceutical Organization. This quote highlights the government's cautious approach, deprioritizing safety concerns when dealing with prioritizing safety concerns when dealing with the cannabis industry. However, some small businesses have benefited. Larger investors and overall economy has yet to see the economic boom initially expected. Critics argue that until there's significant deregulation, Thailand's cannabis industry will continue to underperform. The potential is huge, but the government has been slow and too conservative, said opposition MP Anuntin Charvinyankul, who is also a former health minister. Apologies, I completely butchered that name. However, he criticizes the government for not taking a more proactive approach and capitalizing on the cannabis industry's potential. This story is so exciting for so many reasons. We can talk about it from a business perspective, we can talk about it from a cultural perspective, but I want to dive in because one day, y'all, I want to have a sesh in Phuket. That's just one of my fantasies as, small town Texas girl reporting for High at 9 News from deep in the heart of Texas. This is Liz Grow.
I brought up, Liz, this a Thai story on my TikTok it's been some time, and I got so many people that said, let's bring back the Thai sticks which apparently I didn't know what a Thai stick was, but it's like has anybody else looked into developing these? They actually dip the center of the stick that they put the cannabis around in some type of heroin or a similar product, a very, very small amount, and then put the cannabis around, then wrap it in cannabis leaves and then dry it. And people who have had them really love them. I don't think that we can exactly replicate them. That's wise, but I think they'd have a lot of fun, if they brought back the Thai sticks in some more safer form. I was even
with the cost of fentanyl like cheaper than heroin. I don't see like many people using heroin.
No, I don't remember what it was. Do you guys remember how Thai sticks were produced? But I think you could even use a more psychedelic synthetic product like Delta 10 or one of those products, to enhance a more psychedelic experience with it. But even just having like that classic appearance would be a great place for Thailand to hit the market. I bet you this many Americans talking about it. I bet you everybody in Thailand wishes they could have a Thai stick too.
Yeah, I think pertaining to Liz's story with them, like kicking the can, like everybody else in the global industry. I mean, isn't the country, like, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the country of Thailand right now like operating, like the whole country operating like 215, like Prop 215 was out here in California, where it's like pretty much it's no enforcement, but it's a quasi legal market. Am I correct with that, Jason? Gretchen?
Say that again, Rico. Rewind.
The country of Thailand, the way they're operating right now, like everything's kind of legal,
Very
kind
trappy.
of not.
It's very trappy.
Yeah,
It's like,
like 215, right?
like 215 days, yeah. And I mean, in all fairness, too, they're getting fucking amazing. They're getting amazing numbers out there. Like,
Yeah.
you're getting $4,000 or $5,000 a pound out there, easy. And grams are selling for like $25-30. It's just like when LA first opened up the weed game.
So many people, so many of my homeboys and homegirls have gone over there, and they're doing fucking work. Dude, I'm trying not to cuss. I'm trying not to.
We appreciate that.
Is it, it was just so amazing because it was so just taboo, not even a decade ago. And there's been a shift, and I've always, who doesn't want to go to Thailand? I mean, it's just like, it seems like such a magical place. I've never been. And with cannabis, and then the mind shift to, oh, this is a plant. I feel like even if you don't use that plant, if you live in those markets where the, majority believes that it is medicine, it's just a different vibe, and I'm excited for Thailand because of that. It definitely sucks that the politicians are probably,
I don't think it really sucks. See, I don't really think it sucks, though. I don't really think it sucks. Once you add regulations, once you add once they go forward with, I know Gretchen loves that regulation and all that stuff.
Regulation's great.
Once you go forward with that stuff, like you stunt the growth of entrepreneurship, and you bring in the government, and you bring in all this control. And 215 was the greatest time. Here
Can you hear my sigh?
Well, then,
I am not all for regulation. I am for consumer safety. There's a difference.
CCCP.
And absolutely. I mean, Gretchen, you're so right. The last thing you want to do is have tourists go to Thailand and grab a Thai stick and it's their last damn Thai stick because the market is just so crazy and you can't, control, have safety measures in place. So,
right.
And I think things take time, but I guess I'm just like, always a pessimist when it comes to politicians and like humans making laws around cannabis. I feel like they slow it down because they want to know how much they can get from it, and then the people will have access.
And really operating with such a low level of facts, of factual information.
Right.
We do have Troy up from the Clubhouse audience. Troy, what do you have to say about Thailand?
Awesome. My buddy just got back. He does a couple grows and stuff in Oklahoma, but it's still a mystique. He said that he went through Vietnam, he went through Thailand, Bangkok, and all that, and there was no place at all that he went that he could smell it in the air. And then when he went into the cookie store, he was the only one in the cookie store. So it's not like the cookies here with the line going around the block. And like you said, you can get a beer and a shot for like a quarter to 50 cents out there. The Thai beer and stuff. So I think it's just stigmatized really bad down there, and I'm interested to see how the business owners are doing out there.
Yeah, but a lot of the weed it's all California weed that's being sold out there, Troy.
Yeah, that's what he said, because I asked him, how was it? Was it all dried up and old and over there in Thailand? And did you get a Thai stick and all that? But yeah, he said it was good. He said, like you said, it's California herbs out there.
You know what, Jason? Like on a global level, maybe you can speak to this too, Troy. Like on a global level, like maybe California should become the Monsanto of cannabis and just spread our seeds all over the world, making us forever owners of the plant and of the industry. What do you say about that, Jason?
What?
Don't put Monsanto and California cannabis in the same sentence,
California weed
please.
is permeated all
Please.
culture, all regions of the
Yeah, but
world.
California is
but
the number
let's think
one
of a
brand
better
in weed
metaphor.
in the entire world.
In the entire world. So now that that California cannabis is everywhere on every continent, should we not lay claim to that? Should we not
We should.
drop? We should.
To something
Well,
better than Monsanto
we-
is what
we-
I'm
So
saying.
anybody in the world smoking on California cannabis should pay us a tax.
Hell yeah, they should. Hell yeah, they should. But we have LS up in the clubhouse audience too. What do you have to say about this, LS?
Just that being 73 years old, I had the opportunity of living in LA back in the 70s. I had the original Thai stick when it came over. I never believed that it had heroin on it or it sprayed with anything. It was like really great landrace sativa. Maybe later they might have done something like that, but it was really great pot. It was wonderful buds tied with a hemp string around a stick, like a chopstick kind of thing, and it was just great pot.
But wasn't it like outdoor weed, LS?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course.
Boof.
Anyway, thank you guys.
Thank you so much for that, LS. You know, it's funny too, is because we had some buddies that were just out there in Thailand. They did a whole video, our friends over at High Rise, and they did a whole little video, and they actually found some native Thai stick while they were out there and got some footage of it, smoked it. You know what I mean? And in all honesty, if I was in Thailand, I would find it out there too, and I would try it even if I didn't like it, just so then that way to say that I found it, I tried it, and yada yada yada.
Yeah, Jimmy Devine over at High Times had a great time over there, man.
Jimmy Devine's not at High Times; he's at LA Weekly.
LA Weekly. Where is he not? Where is he not? He like writes for absolutely.
He's not at High Times. I can tell you that much.
It might be hash that those plastics were dipped in the middle that result because I think the hash is what's making it. Let me see if I can put this up to my camera and if it'll show up. But it's the hash is what's making it sticky, and then everything gets wrapped around it. So now that we have D8, which is basically synthetic hash, you could make these Thai cigars and have some fun. I think that they would sell because people really think about them.
Guess what? They don't really sell that much, Dr. Mary Clifton. I've sold this stuff a number of times, and it doesn't really sell like you think it would sell. Just what it is. Yeah, it's fancy, looks nice, whatever, cool thing to look at in your display case and whatnot. But as far as the average consumer purchasing it, and actually consuming it, very, very, very little of that. But I guess
to do on vacation in Thailand, then
I novelty.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said I would do it if I was in Thailand. I'd have to be there.
Sell it to the tourists.
Mm-hmm. But we are short on an ad today, so I apologize on that, guys. Apparently, YouTube doesn't like some of the music involved in one of these ads, so it is being silenced.
That's what you get for having over 1,000 subscribers.
All we got is we hit 1,000 subscribers, and we all of a sudden become corporate media.
Hey, that's how it works. And thank you to Ingrid Faye for that. We appreciate that.
All these rules make my penis soft.
Oh God, here we go. But coming up next, we have Nickolas Wildstar, who represents the Black conservative voice who Joe Biden would love to silence for even acknowledging it exists. That's right. Here coming up to change the narrative. That's right. It is none other than Governor himself, Nickolas Wildstar.
The governor.
Hey, what's up, y'all? The German government is reportedly considering a cannabis legalization light model instead of a full legalization due to concerns that nationwide legalization could violate European law. This model would involve a trial program similar to those adopted by other jurisdictions, such as the Swiss city of Zurich, under which recreational cannabis sales would be limited to certain parts of the country for 3 to 5 years. This news comes after the center-left Social Democratic Party, a key member of the current coalition government, issued a statement signaling that officials are prepared to scale back their ambitions for comprehensive legalization. The party suggested ideas such as allowing home cultivation for a limited number of plants, limited personal possession, and investing profits in addiction and prevention initiatives. Industry executives are not surprised by the latest news, as they have been expecting a model projected for several months. And anything else would have been too difficult to align with EU regulation. While a scaled back initiative would be a major step, it is too early to come to conclusions, as Germany has yet to produce a draft law. And the process for approval from the European Commission is ongoing. Germany's changing plans have already caused one large Canadian cannabis producer to scale back its revenue forecast, as federal legalization in the US and Germany has not played out as the company had expected. So basically, while Germany had previously planned to legalize and regulate adult use cannabis, federal officials are now reportedly considering a trial program model instead. This news comes after the center-left Social Democratic Party again issued a statement signaling that officials are prepared to scale back their ambitions for comprehensive legalization aimed for this Easter, believe it or not. While a limited trial program would still be a significant step, it is still too early to determine what form of the eventual legalization will take, as the process for approval from the European Commission is still ongoing. Reporting for the High 9 News Hours, this is Nick Wildstar, aka the Governor. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
So Germany was getting a little ahead of themselves, huh?
I think they finally realized that all that Canadian weed is boof, and so they need to pivot.
Yeah, they got to pivot. The pivot game way strong. Why don't they just import the? Why don't they just import the stuff, the cannabis from Africa?
You know,
Work from Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, very smart, Rita.
Isn't it that Uganda had a contract with Germany and Canada when California dropped the ball in the beginning and let the importing go to Canada? It went to Germany for Canada. It was Uganda got the contract for Canada and Germany.
Wow.
So in 2018, I was in Jamaica, and there was a big excitement around Germany importing Jamaican cannabis oil. That was the big talk of the town. I never really followed up on that. I don't follow, kind of what's going on in German cannabis, but I know they've been thinking about it for a while, bringing in the top quality product rather than growing it themselves. And I think that just makes sense. If we're talking about a global economy and California being the best cannabis in the world, why shouldn't anyone be able to import that product? Germans are smart, y'all.
Yeah, I can't find the California dropping the ball on that, but I found like back in 2019, Uganda was supposed to be exporting cannabis to Canada and Germany, but they should have more of that shit.
Aren't some folks exporting from Colombia into Germany?
I thought it was all coming from Canada.
Well, they should be exporting from Colombia into Germany. I know they're exporting to other places in Europe from Colombia, so why not Germany?
They should
Go for it.
Colombian booth, huh?
It should be, but yeah, Germany needs to get their stuff together and get off that celebrity train. Ever since it was Heidi Klum came out there, but Jay-Z was out there. Who else was out there? I can't remember who else went out there to push legislation forward. Everything's been slow walked since. Everything, and they're going to be
Heidi's fault.
It's Heidi Klum's fault.
Yeah.
Damn that Heidi Klum.
Yeah,
came up there looking like a snack. You know what I'm saying?
Strut down for Cannabis Runway, okay, is what she needs to do, and she needs to get Germans on board.
So
I've never seen them do a cannabis-related dress challenge on Project Runway. Maybe that's what we should do.
What a miss! Hemp, though.
Awesome.
You gotta use hemp fabrics. Hello.
Hold on, Project Runway still running?
Yeah.
Project Runway still okay.
Still.
It's got a lot of runway.
It's
got a lot of runway.
486.
I think is Tyra Banks still on there?
No, she was in America's Next Top Model.
That's a whole different show.
No,
Come on.
Rico.
But in the
Stop.
How old are you, Rico?
Come on.
Let me start
in the
there.
clubhouse chat, Troy did share a link that it is true. Yes, they had a deal with the Canadian government, and it was a $16 million deal to export cannabis from Canada to Germany. $16 million deal.
How far does that money go in Uganda or in,
Well, I mean, when you're buying boof weed, it goes pretty far.
hey,
How about some California, cultivators go to Uganda and set something up? What's why can't we do that? Why can't we look at the cannabis industry as like the truly global industry? I mean, I know why we can't because of federal rules and laws.
Well, I appreciate where you're coming from, Liz. The corruption in Africa would not help the situation.
Don't put it on Africa. It's corruption everywhere.
Yeah, because it's the most legit continent ever.
It's been
Heaven forbid I speak some facts that there's corrupt governments in Africa.
Man,
I'm hating again.
The American government is not corrupt. Are you saying the American government is not corrupt?
I didn't say we're not corrupt.
Less corrupt.
Money corrupts people.
The governments in Africa don't have some corruption going on is ridiculous.
We need to move
I didn't
past
say it.
this whole
Nobody said
jump
that.
to defend.
All of a sudden, I pointed out, no, my God, the world's coming to an end. Holy shit.
Nobody said the African government is not corrupt, but you can't single them out. Germany's government's corrupt. Every government is corrupt. You got a lie is a lie, right?
And right now, America is totally corrupt, as evidence of all the news that we were getting to watch yesterday.
Oh my God!
You knew I was going to go there, Rico. You knew
I was going to take it there, man. I just love that these days I don't have to bring up 45 and you're already defending him.
I missed the show yesterday. Can you guys fill me in on what happened, Rico? Or just kidding?
The show?
No, just kidding. I just knew the news would really hurt Jason and.
Oh man! Sad Trump meme.
Jason hasn't been sleeping well. It's been rough on him.
I've been sleeping great. I told you it's National Teflon Don Day in the beginning of the show.
Gucci Blanco's been working overtime on East Coast time. Getting up on East Coast time. Landed down on West Coast time.
That's
He's
right.
putting together the case. He's doing the tweets.
Oh,
yes.
You guys are. I can't wait. You got this next one, Rico.
All right, let's do it. All right.
It's Dr. Mary Clifton.
I know. I'm getting.
Dr. Mary.
I'm trying
Would
to.
you like me to introduce myself?
No, I got this. I'm trying to get myself together. I got this. This 25-year board-certified integrative medicine internist is a 2-time best-selling author and the CEO of Balanced Medicinal, where she and her expert team get together and mix some good stuff up so you don't have to. When you don't see her on the show with us, chances are she's walking around with a selfie stick around Central Park. Coming to the stage next, y'all know who it is, Dr. Mary Clifton.
Thanks, Rico. That's why I can't host the show, because I can't be creative on those little funny intros like that. I've got a great new article. The, quote, most conservative Massachusetts GOP lawmaker files 3 psychedelic reform bills, including a measure to legalize. This was published 4 hours ago by Kyle Yeager in Marijuana Moment. A Republican Massachusetts lawmaker has filed 3 new psychedelic reform bills, including proposals to legalize substances like psilocybin and reschedule MDMA pending federal approval while setting a price cap on therapeutic access. The measures are from Representative Nickolas Wildstar, Boldyga, who describes himself as the, quote, most conservative member of legislature and the latest examples of psychedelic reform that lawmakers in the state are pursuing in this session. Quote, people are suffering from debilitating mental issues such as PTSD, traumatic brain injury, anxiety, and depression. These psychedelic compounds and plant medicines are offering hope and healing to those that were once hopeless. And may I add, undertreated. We've closed so many of our mental health long-term facilities that so many people are out on the street or in jail with mental health rather than being taken care for and handled in a loving way.
Quote, plant medicines have been used for thousands of years by various cultures around the world. They truly are revolutionizing how we approach mental health and well-being. So there's 3 bills here. HB 3589. This legislation would legalize the possession, cultivation, and gifting of up to 2 grams of psilocybin, ibogaine, DMT, and mescaline for adults 21 and older. This reform is about ending unjust laws and expanding legal access. HB 3605 would legalize psilocybin for adults 18 and older through a regulated model, similar to the system that Oregon is implementing. Regulators would also be authorized to license independent schools to train facilitators on how to effectively administer psilocybin. HB 3574 is an automatic reschedule made available for the treatment of PTSD if the FDA approves it. And it would set a cap of $5,000 per session using MDMA to prevent price gouging. Quote, I share similar concerns among grassroots advocates about access, availability, and the over-corporatization of psychedelic compounds and plant medicines. I look forward to working with advocates and others to do everything we can to deliver this life-saving therapy to as many people as possible suffering with PTSD. And, you know, I'll add there that we see PTSD as a veteran's problem, but when you look over people's life with all of the various things that people go through, upwards of 90% of us have PTSD triggers. So there's a lot of people who could stand to benefit from a system that currently really needs additional effective medications. And I'm Mary Clifton, reporting from New York City.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Dr. Mary.
Isn't
I'm so
it great
happy to
news?
hear that it's Massachusetts top GOP that is introducing this bill for all the players out there.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. What you gonna say about that, Rico?
You know what I gotta say about that, Jason?
Exactly nothing, huh? That's what I'm hearing. A whole big old nothing challenge.
Turn the volume up, Rico. Come on now, drop that.
I'm not hearing nothing, Rico. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh dear.
My shit ain't working right, man. I gotta
Man.
Definitely.
recalibrate it.
You're being silenced by your roadcaster today.
This corporate roadcaster has been silenced by YouTube corporate media, telling us we can't say bad words, telling us we can't smoke on air, putting the bad people down, the good people up.
Dr. Mary, thank you for that story. It was uplifting and exciting, and I'm excited for the citizens of the Commonwealth because it's coming, and it's coming legally, and it's going to help a lot of people, that being psilocybin, you know. And what you said about PTSD, I mean, is so true. If we live through 2020, like, we've got PTSD, like we do. And you know, it's just one more beautiful natural form of relief, I think, for, you know, those horrible symptoms that keep us from just living our best lives. So yeah.
Yeah, I
Great
mean,
story.
when I'm working
Pelosi clap.
and people are talking about using a very high level of high THC products and still having breakthrough symptoms, you know, I tell them that you've got to start looking for a different alternative, that this drug is helping, but it's not the answer for you. But then it's hard to continue the conversation beyond that because these other alternatives are still pending and are still, you know, at high risk for legal implications. So things like this coming through are gonna be very helpful in the future.
We keep on seeing more and more of these with psychedelics going forward with little to no friction. Do you think that we're going to see a massive letting of psychedelics to go through on a federal level before cannabis?
Yes.
I do, yes.
I don't.
Sorry.
I don't know why you're saying I don't, Jason Beck.
I don't think so.
Have you looked at what's going on in the world?
Of course, I pay attention very, very closely, Gretchen.
I know you pay attention to everything. So you would also be paying attention to the FDA saying cannabis. What the fuck? I don't know what to do with that thing.
We already know the FDA has.
But the FDA doesn't have that issue when it's coming to psychedelics. They don't have to go the same route that the cannabis is fighting.
No, they don't. And they have better studies. They started out with very well-funded, effective studies, and they're single molecule products. So they're much easier for the FDA to regulate. It falls right within typical FDA regulation. So I don't think they'll be fast-tracked necessarily, but I think they'll move much quicker than cannabis.
Yeah, they're not going to face these same hurdles or the same stigma at all that cannabis
same social
faces.
stigma. Yeah, you don't have the war on drugs wasn't really focused on psychedelics. I think that's going to help it move forward a lot quicker too. So, it is what it is.
Yes.
Once again, Gretchen for the win. Gretchen is right. Jason Beck, just say, I know Gretchen. I bow down. You're always right, Gretchen.
Oh, God.
I thought you'd come out saying exactly that, Gretchen. I'm excited for the psilocybins to hit the market and see how they can create great outcomes for so many people.
What is an entheogen?
I think, well, that's a good question. I mean, I think I would have to look that up to give you an exact definition. I think it's a psychedelic a plant-derived psychedelic.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys Google all of that so we can get a proper definition. But thank you to Aaron for that super chat. We appreciate that very, very, very much.
Yeah, a chemical substance, typically of plant origin, ingested to produce a non-ordinary state of consciousness.
A non-ordinary state of consciousness.
It's just so broad. That's the worst definition ever.
That's so bad.
Hold on.
What is an ordinary consciousness?
Does that mean that coffee can be considered an entheogen?
Who's ordinary?
Yeah. What is ordinary?
By that definition, I think it would. You agree with me, Dr. Mary?
Oh, coffee?
Yeah.
Being an entheogenic.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what they're referring to. I don't think a light buzz is from coffee is what they're referring to. Maybe coffee and a bran muffin. Whoa.
And a bran muffin.
Now we're
talking. Bridge in traffic.
What if it's a raisin bran muffin?
No, I don't think a raisin bran muffin really qualifies as a bran muffin.
Okay.
How come poppy seed bagels don't get me high?
Because it's not prepared the way that it needs to be prepared. And going back to those Thai sticks before we have to wrap it up,
how do I activate?
I think that the heroin angle and fentanyl, I don't think you want to mess with that. I think you want to go with poppy hash in our Thai sticks.
Great advice, Liz.
Thank you.
Always added value.
Appreciate
that. There you have it. Let's grow. Always offering tips on alternative medicines when it comes to anything but real cannabis because it's illegal in Texas.
Let's wrap it up. Time to land the plane.
Let's do it. Am I doing the outro too?
Yeah, you got the outro.
Somebody wrap it up.
Dude, my brain does not work today, man. All right. This is what happens when you are moving nonstop for the last 2 weeks and you just everything blurs together. But thank you all out there for tuning in for another episode of High 9 News. You can always catch us weekdays 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our live audience members and online supporters tuning in and giving us feedback on the daily headlines of chaos, also known as the developing cannabis industry. Even though we're a little bit more censored now, keep on bringing the heat. Love the trolling. Love the crap talking in the background. Keep that crap coming. Our vetted industry correspondent team from all over the global community bringing us much needed variety of perspective and adding your respected opinion to the conversation too. Our production team, thank you Cloud Media Partners, House of Fuego, the wonderful Jaja Simone, holding things down for us down in Clubhouse, and all of our sponsors too. And to our haters out there, we got 1,000 subscribers now. Get your game up. We monetize up in this mug. So keep hating and we gonna keep loving. Spread some more love the Burt Bacharach way. And always, Cannabis Sativa L, the reason the High at 9 News team shows up to read these headlines every single day. We're going to forever be in debt to your greatness, and we're going to keep on smoking and put you in the air. It is Thursday, April 6th, 2023. The show is over and you've been blessed with today's top industry headlines. Hope it's enough for you to put in your pipe and smoke it until tomorrow. My name is Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street, and we're going to give it to Liz Grow. What you got for us to take us out today, Liz?
Hey, thanks so much. Taking you out from deep in the heart of Texas, where I am reminding you that cannabis is still pretty much illegal. We have 29 million people in the state, 29 million patients who don't have access, and it's also criminalized. Okay, people are still going to jail for this plant in Texas. So I ask you, if you are in Texas, get involved on a local level. Get involved in this conversation. Talk to your friends about the fact that we're still locking people up for weed. If you're not in Texas, please send your prayers and your good vibes because we definitely need them. So thanks, guys. This is Liz Grove from High at Night signing out. Peace.
Much love. Take us out.